Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining Lumal's webinar on manual data input, comment, and write back in Power BI using Inforiver. My name is Gopal Krishnamurthy, founder and CEO of Lumal and Inforiver. From a webinar agenda point of view, today we will start off by introducing our company, and then we will go deeper into the functional reasons of why write back, how to actually choose the write back solutions, what are some of the key enhancements we are bringing to the market in terms of the write back capabilities with Inforiver. We would see a live demo of the write back and the number of innovative capabilities we have added to the data input capabilities. We will be touching on a lot of the questions about the deployment models for Inforiver, both from a SaaS perspective as well as an on-premise private deployment perspective. We have a Q&A and we will probably take your audience question. This webinar is being recorded, and everyone who registered would get a copy of the recording as well as the slides today. I'm pretty happy to start the webinar today, and by introducing Lumal, we as an organization support over 2,000 paying subscribers to our software. We specialize in doing add-on products on top of major BI platforms such as SAP and Power BI. And our software primarily focuses on driving business productivity and business performance by saving the time to drive insights and also keep the cost of actually to get the insights out. We have 4 major data applications. The Inforiver charts, which we just launched, is very strong in exploration, visualization, and data storytelling. I would almost say this is the next generation in visualization with 40 plus charts, and I would like you to check it out. We would be talking today about Inforiver Matrix and the enterprise version of the Inforiver Matrix, which is very, very strong in doing reporting, very strong in pivot type of analysis like in Excel, and very, very strong in data input capabilities like Excel. And we will show some of the Power App like capabilities right inside Inforiver Matrix and how you can write back to SQL databases. And our ValQ, which won the Financial Modeling Innovation Award in 2020, is very, very strong in advanced planning and simulation and scenario analysis. And XViz is very, very strong when it comes to project status, project progress, and timeline. And XViz Gantt chart is used by hundreds of large enterprises in the world. And pretty happy to introduce the Inforiver Matrix today, which provides a broad set of use cases from reporting, visualization to analysis, everything with data governance, data provenance, and audit. It also provides very, very end user friendly ability to input your forecasts and do very quick simulation and what if analysis. The enterprise edition of Inforiver, which we would be focused on, will provide collaborative comments, ability to schedule and burst your paginated reports, and also the write back, which is basically one of our strongest suite. Our standard edition, it starts at just $1 per month, is also IBCS certified. Our software is both Power BI certified as well as IBCS certified. And we have several major customers that rave about Inforiver and are happy to, from AMD to Choice Properties to Humana to CMC Materials, very happy customers that are using Inforiver for various use cases in terms of digital transformation or doing financial report automation. Let's start with talking about what is the business outcome. Why do organizations are craving for write back? From the time we launched the write back capability, a lot of customers are extremely excited about the possibility of actually integrating your BI, which is your actuals information, which is very critical to the BI systems. But BI systems typically do not provide write-back capabilities because they are optimized for rate. They want to see the budgets and forecast, which falls into the your CPM and EPM category, enterprise performance management, but they are typically a separate software. And then they want to see the commentary, the site visit notes, and which is typically captured in a CRM system. Imagine you want to see it in an integrated manner. What it would do is it would facilitate a faster but collaborative decision making in organization to drive business productivity. Then organizations are managed on business performance to the budgets and the goals, and to be able to do variances and then manage to the business performance and the goals is extremely essential in a very agile, fast-paced organizations that are running today. Because the data is getting captured in multiple different systems today, the goal with the write-back is, can we eliminate the data silos, a lot of the manual processes and Excel-based processes to align with the digital transformation goals of the organization? What would it do to a business outcome? It provides organizations the capability to react faster, and it provides immense competitive advantage to the organization. Now, how do we choose a write-back solution? Because it is not very common software, and the only power of write-back is if it is in conjunction with your BI software. There is two ways of doing a write-back. One is a structured write-back and an unstructured write-back. Structured write-back is typically a very older legacy way of doing, where you set up your dimension model, pretty much done by IT. It's not really end user friendly. It doesn't give you the agility to the pace at which the organization changes. What if you were able to build a BI report and then able to make quickly changes? It's more of an unstructured end user. Like, that's one of the reason everybody uses Excel to capture your budgets and forecast, which is more like an unstructured write-back. The write-back destination, what kind of destination? Is it only just a SQL server? Or what kind of destination? A lot of customers are consolidating their data in cloud data warehouses like Snowflake and data lakehouses like Databricks. Can we actually use the OneDrive instead of local file share like Excel documents? Do you provide webhooks? A lot of those consideration has to be taken in terms of, do we support a full write-back and then the delta write-back? Now, is there a way we can ignore the subtotals and the totals? How granular I can actually input the comments? Can I do it at a cell level, row level, and then can I write back those comments? Can I write back only a specific measure that we are actually capturing through the data input? Can I actually apply filter and only send a specific rows of data into the database? What about authorization, and how can we manage the permissions? Last but not the couple of very important thing is, what is it going to take to implement? Because typically the time to implement has to be pretty to the modern BI stack concept of very fast deployment times. And we have to match an Excel-like user experience for organization to adopt a write-back solution. What we have done with Inforiver is we have invested in bringing additional data input columns with our 1.6 release. Before, we were able to input your budgets and forecast and do spreading and allocations and all that. But a lot of customers came back to us and said, we want to be able to input textual comments that are more like notes. We want to have like input fields like a single select validated drop-down list or a multi select a drop-down list to capture the project statuses, or like a Boolean type yes or no. And then some of the date fields like, okay, if I have a project completion date, I want to capture the date from a user. I want to be able to do that. Then the next set of requirements came. Most of the organizations wanted to do it in both in the edit mode and also in the read mode. Today, we would be showing in the read mode. And then, can these be based on a formula? If this is this, then I expect an input to be filled in. The destination, we support a wide range of SQL database destination, and we plan to keep adding more destination in our upcoming release. And we have a pretty large investment and a fairly large team focused on it. So this destinations would continue to grow. And one of the big enhancement we are bringing in is an administrator of the organization actually can pre-set up the destination for the end user. So we don't have to have the end user set up the destination. The end user can simply use the destination that is already pre-configured by the administrator. The administrator can also have a switch where they can actually turn the access where the end user cannot actually write back to their own destination. They can disable that. The write back customization, like I mentioned, we provide pretty robust set of settings that an end user and the organization can actually select to make sure it caters to wide range of requirements around the settings of the write back. We also support the writing back the comment with who did the write back and when they did the write back as well. We are pretty excited to kind of unveil the live sync capability where as every user is entering in the reading mode, you can actually see the results, the live sync write back table. You can actually read it is getting automatically configured. If you can link the right live sync fields and through your data model, link it with a direct query, you would instantly see them in your charts as well. As the users enter, you can actually, it gets reflected with your refresh frequency settings. The next one is, like I mentioned, what is very important for a lot of organizations is, as we are capturing a lot of these data input information, do we have the audit of who did what and when? So our audit capability in Inforiver has been enhanced, where you have a separate section called data entry, where we are capturing at a user level, at the timestamp level, both the inputs and then the changes made to the write back. We have significantly enhanced the write back logs, and also we are providing it more of a milestone based progress as the write back is actually happening. So this gives you the broad set of innovative capabilities that from the prior release to the new release that we are actually bringing to the market, because this has been widely sought after feature right inside Power BI by a lot of the customer base. Now, moving on to the collaboration, I think one of the common requests is collaborative comments, because one of the things is, well, let's assume we are allowing users to input the budgets, the forecasts, and some of the things is they also want to be able to have notifications and task assignments, more of a collaborative conversations. And we had that capability, but we enhanced it further, where you can actually now see where you can actually assign, open up a task, they get notified, and then you can say, and then the assignee can actually come back and then say, hey, I have reviewed the budget, and then they can close it. And then that conversation thread is captured. So it's pretty handy, more like an Excel, but you have a complete conversation thread right in the Power BI report now. So just gives you how we basically drive both a cell level collaboration and at a column level collaboration to actually coexist with the write back process and drive a lot of the innovation around driving the business productivity and business performance. Just to touch on, this is as part of the enterprise edition, we have the ability to actually schedule and burst the paginated reports that you can create with Inforiver. Just I wanted to use the webinar to touch on some of the enhancements we have made here. Is we support the row level security that is defined. Some of the paginated report layouts that you have defined, we support now. And we have continued to enhance. And one of the new feature we have brought in is now you can actually consume the filters and the bookmarks that you have defined to the report and then customize to who it goes to. We are also have the ability to send the PDF, the Excel, the preview image, screenshot, executive screenshot. You have the ability to merge the PDF, the merge Excel. If you have multiple pages, we are bringing in that capability as well. Like I mentioned, you can actually schedule to your organization, but we also provide what we call as an ad hoc email. You produce a report without actually doing, you just do if you have the enterprise edition, you can actually do an ad hoc email that can send the PDF, the Excel, and the screenshot to whoever is recipient. If the admin allows, you can actually even send it to your external audience as well. If, let's say you have a customer or a vendor, you want to share it, you can actually go ahead and do that as well. We have also enhanced our ability to do the user management, schedule management, the lineage view of what everything is happening fairly very in a comprehensive manner. Before I'm going to be now switching to the demo, but I just wanted to touch on some of the very common questions is, can this be only as a SaaS version? Actually, we provide two different deployment methods for organization. One is our enterprise SaaS for small and medium businesses. They don't have to do, so there is a Power BI visual component, and then there is an Azure service component. We configure everything, and there is no installation, no upgrades required. The customer just subscribe to our service from our website, and everything is provided for. But typically large enterprises, they want to manage it for various reasons like data security, data retention, geo residency of the data. So what we recommend to large enterprises, we can actually provide the Inforiver software, and we can provide the Azure deployment services, and we recommend that you do it in an on-premise private tenant. That way you can actually manage your infrastructure, which kind of gives everything that your IT team is requiring in terms of a lot of their concerns is addressed that way. It doesn't mean the SaaS version is any less secure. It just helps move the adoption of the Inforiver Enterprise go a little further. I will be now switching back to the demonstration of the Inforiver software, and I would come back to a lot of other questions about the pricing, going into the roadmap, and other things. I'll be coming to the Power BI now. So I'm here on the Inforiver website now, and you can notice we have reorganized our pages very clearly for everybody. So we have our Inforiver charts, which we just are launching, and we want you to check it out. So the website really has the charts, FAQ, the pricing. The same way the Inforiver matrix also has the similar page, and you can have the look at it. Now the Inforiver Enterprise, for a lot of you that have a lot of questions, we put in a pretty robust FAQ and the pricing. So it's much easier for you to go to the Enterprise FAQ. You can see the installation, the commenting, scheduler, all of that we have documented, and we have it easy for you. So now I would be walking into the demonstration. I will actually walk through the product, and I will actually have a demonstration that I will be actually doing it. So when I want to do a new report, and one of the things is it works, Inforiver works on, like I mentioned, on any Power BI data sets. And it is as an app that you can actually get it from the Inforiver as a visual framework, as App Center. So I'm actually deploying our Inforiver visual. Now you can use it in a smaller screen, but especially on the Writeback use cases, we recommend you use it in a kind of full screen, makes it easy. Let's say I have my region hierarchy, and let's say I have my time dimension of the quarter, and let's say I have my actuals. And one of the things I wanted to do is, before I go, I wanted to just quickly touch on a lot of the capabilities that we have introduced into the Inforiver, because contextually they are important for you to grasp. So one thing I wanted to touch on is the Inforiver matrix is actually within our organization. It is actually one product, one visual. It has a standard SKU. It is basically a subset of the Inforiver matrix, which is your $1 visual. Then the professional visual is basically, you can use it for a lot of financial reports. It has a lot of the capabilities as well. The premium is also pretty full-fledged capabilities, except when you come to the export, you will notice that the writeback is disabled, the scheduling is disabled, but you have the ability to do the paginated reports. You have all the Excel, like the formula capabilities. You get the data input capabilities as well. But when in a premium, when you actually save it, you save it to the Power BI visual. It doesn't get saved to the databases. So in the premium edition, which is Power BI certified, you don't need a database, you don't need a server. You can actually input it and you just save it to the Power BI visual itself. So think of Excel. Excel acts as its own database. So we are making the Power BI PBX file as a kind of a storage. Now you can export whatever you have inputted into Excel, and you can export to PDF. You can do that. Now the Enterprise edition, if you notice, now this is where the collaborative writeback, all that comes back in. So you have the ability to sign in. You have the ability to do the collaborative comments. The writeback is enabled. The managed subscription is there. So let us just see an use case, how typically customers can actually do, so you get an idea. All these capabilities, you can do it both in the desktop and in the service and in the reading mode. I want you to just see how easy and simple it is to do the writeback. I want you to experience the capabilities that we have in the product. So one of the important things I wanted to mention is you come to the data input column and you would come here to do the number, because we want to do a 2022 budget. And look at our options. The visual measure basically does it to each quarter. The visual column would do one at the end. You have the various input types that we talked about. Here, if you notice, we allow the edits both in the reading mode and the edit modes. You can restrict it only to the edit mode, or it could be based on a formula where you can say only allow input if, let's say, the actual was greater than this number. So we support all of these combinations. Let's go back here. And I'm actually going to do this input. Now we have done that. Now, let's say I want to do a textual input, but the text, I don't want it at every quarter. I would rather have it, let's say, notes. And you have an option to allow it at the subtotal level or at the grand total level, but we don't want to do that. We just want to create the notes as well. Now, I would like to do a select, like a drop-down field. I will do it at the status, let's say. And here we actually give you some presets like open, closed, or what is the approval status. We actually do that. We can actually do a quick selection, and we can actually do that. So now we have set up an input grid for you all to see. Now, one of the things that I typically recommend for you all to see is the power Inforiver gives you to quickly input budgets and forecasts and do the what if simulation. Let's say as an organization, I want to quickly do, I can come here, I can come at any total level and I can do this. And then I can actually quickly take a weight of the last year's actual. So let's say me as an organization, I have actually done that. And I can also go and actually fine tune it. Let's say the central, I want to add another 25 million, you can do, and it would do the automatic spreading. Let's say for Asia Pacific, I want to do 200 million, but I want to keep it pretty constant, distribute it equally. It can do that. It can actually, let's say this is 500 million, but I want to keep it as a trend of 10% every quarter. I can actually do that as well. So it would automatically do that. So the power of the writeback is supported by the power of the ability to input your budgets and forecast very rapidly. Now, let's say I want to enter the texts and the notes and like, for example, let's say we can actually do that. Now, what happens if I do a very long text, right? Okay. And a lot of people ask, okay, will it do the auto wrap of the columns? We today support the ability to do the auto wrap as well, because this was one of the popular requests from a lot of them. We actually did it. You can now come here and say, this is in review. Let's say this is actually approved. So you can see we are able to do a lot of them like this. Now, what if I wanted to do the commenting at a cell level? Let's say we can actually do a comment. We can actually do a comment column, which I wanted to actually show as well. And then I will do a comment cell comment as well. So let's say we do a cell level comment. And I can actually tag another coworker. I'm tagging myself just so that you get an idea. And then you can actually assign. So you know who is assigned. Now, let's say I do this comment that I was talking about, a collaborative comment. Actually, I can actually do conversational comment to get approval. Again, I want to send an email. I want to assign a task to myself, or I want to assign it to another employee, and I post it. And you can notice we have this, and then it would send me an email, and then I can come and do it. So if I expand this, and you will see the status and so this is what the collaborative comments, whereas the notes is non-collaborative. So you get an idea. Now, you may wonder, how is the writeback going to work? The way the writeback is going to work is you would come to the export. You see the writeback. Now, when I try to do the writeback, it knows there is no destination set up. So it opens up a pop-up. Now, our team has pre-configured a lot of the destinations for us. I have the databases that I talked about. I have the tiles. For this purpose, I'm going to take a OneDrive, but I have another demo where I would be doing it to an Azure SQL. But I wanted to show you where we actually have done the live demo. I have done the save the destination. We have done that. And then when I come here, okay, I think I have to set up another folder. Okay, so you can see the destination actually has been configured here. The OneDrive has been configured and the webhook is there. And let's say when I do the writeback, just to give you the idea, so it automatically creates a new version. And I'm actually going to do this. So this is the new status that we were talking about, where the writeback is done. Now, for those who are wondering what is the writeback format, you can actually see this helps me explain the writeback format. So you see, it's done in a very Power BI friendly manner, database friendly manner, flattened, and it is who wrote it, what time, and you can actually see a lot of those capabilities. The comment goes in the JSON format as well. The whatever was input, the native means it is an actual coming from the Power BI datasets. Visual measures are what you actually inputted at the report level, and these all the notes, all of them are captured and it gets returned back. So this is the same format. Whatever the databases that you have configured, it would go back. Now let's say I save this report, and I'm going to save as I'm going to save this report. And now I'm actually in the reading mode. And we defined some fields that we are going to actually do it in the reading mode. Now you can see it's going into the database and it is actually updating it. This is what I was talking about. Now, when I try to update a forecast or note, I'm going to enter here. It is asking me to log in. And now I'm back here. Now I have logged in. So now I'm going to say, and I want you to see, basically the end user does not have to actually save. It would actually go here and then do the approved, and it would actually take it as well in the reading mode as well. No need to write back and all. It does kind of a live synchronization and live save as well. So this is something we wanted to show here, and I want to come back here to the edit mode of the report. And I would like to touch on some of the other stuffs in the our capabilities as well. So before I actually do that, I do wanted to show you another demonstration of a similar demo, but more writing to a database. And I would actually go to a pre-configured demo that we have actually done. I will come back here and I would actually go to the demo here. And I want you to watch where we are actually showing the live synchronization that we talked about. So here we have a report that we have it, and I'm going to sign in. And I am, as an organization head, I am actually going to input here, and I'm actually going to here, and I'm going to input, let's say, 290 million. And I'm going to input 295 million. And I'm going to input 300 million. And I'm going to basically, I'm not allowed to do it. And I have actually, I'm in the actually the reading mode of the report, and I have done it. So now I am actually going to switch to another user who has access to this. So if you notice, another user has access to this report. Let's assume the user is going to actually refresh. Let's say this is a completely, I have logged in another browser in another user ID. So I just wanted to, if you are wondering if they would actually get an access to this. So you see when it loads value, you can see. So Gopal as another user entered, another user able to pretty much instantly able to see it. How is this happening is because whatever I wrote back is coming back as a live synchronization back into the direct query, and then they are updated in the chart visual as well. Now, this user could potentially come back and say, I can actually, now they have to log in, obviously. So that's how it kind of authenticates that they are able to log in. And back here. And let's say they update this to say 50 million because they're very optimistic. And you see the live synchronization is happening. Their confidence level is pretty high. And it is going to do the confidence level is high. Okay. Okay. They can go and update this to a low as well, and done. Okay. So I just wanted to demonstrate that the end user can actually do that. Now let's switch to another user. So actually show you, can another user actually do this? Here I'm actually going into a private mode, and I am actually going to refresh this. So I want you to, can you actually see all these things? So this is actually our test user 2. I'm in a private mode. I have to log in again. But if they have access to the report, they should be able to see it. So you see, this is Writeback table. So whatever I was able to do it, it's now there. Now it is, because we had a, it is asking for comments because, let me log in once again. And I would actually logged in. And now based on the formula, it opened up for formula based input field to see why confidence is high. Basically, so you can see how the formula based input would also work. No need to further it. So this is how you would be using the data input, the reading mode, and you would be actually capturing all of this. So now I'm going to come back as the administrator or the let's say I'm the manager of the organization. I will probably go into the edit mode of the report, and I would actually refresh this just to get an idea. So I do wanted to show you how all of these are working together. So you can see whatever was entered actually comes back. So you are able to see all of this. So it would actually, now it would go and retrieve it from the, so you can see fairly live sync. This is what we call by live sync. And when I go into the edit mode of the report, I wanted to actually show you, if I come to the export, if I come to the sync. So this is one of the repeated login is something once we publish to the app source, you will have to log in only once because it's still our private visual in our organization. So I kind of wanted to show you all of this, the setup that is there that is making all this actually work seamlessly for the organization. And let's say we come to the insert and then we do the audit. So if you see the audit, we are able to see the data entry audits, who did what, and you can see complete audit at all the user level, which user did all this. So this is how we are able to automate what typically happens in a manual process to kind of start using Inforiver to integrate your BI and your plan and budget inputs with the notes and the comments with full audit capabilities. So this is pretty mind-boggling effort. There's so much of effort our team has put in from an engineering, pretty large team has worked collaboratively to bring all this together, because a lot of customers got really excited and they challenged us to bring a lot of the Power App like capabilities as well. So we brought in Excel like capabilities, we brought in a lot of planning system like capabilities, we brought in a lot of Power Apps like capabilities, and then the ability to do the collaborative comments more like a CRM systems you are able to do is fairly impressive work by our team. And no one is more excited to see everything working live. So there is no gimmicks. Everything I'm doing is a live demonstration of the software. So just to, before I really go, I wanted to come back, and I wanted to actually come back into the actual Inforiver I started with, because there are a few other questions a lot of the audience have been asking us about the product capabilities and some of the improvements we have done over the years. And I wanted to quickly show one of the popular request is, hey, can I get all the different Excel pivot table layouts? We invested and we brought in the outline layout. So you pretty much can actually do any Excel type layouts right inside Inforiver now. The second is, maybe it may be better if I actually do some of the important stuff. Actually, I wanted to quickly show you is, let's say I have my region hierarchy and I do some of the things like, let's say I do the plan, I put our months and quarter. So you can actually do the pivot table like expand, collapse on the column hierarchies as well. But I would also like to show you, we actually, let's say we do the notes column. So the notes are non-collaborative. You can do this with even premium. So let's say we do a long text again, because this is like a popular request. And you can see, we can actually do just bear with me, auto wrap columns. You can see we brought in that capability that does the auto wrap of the column. So especially this is one of the very popular requests by a lot of the customers. We also brought in the capability to do a select all, because they said once I have a lot of measures, it was really hard. So we brought in those capabilities. There was one common request a lot of the customers who were actually doing the Writeback that kept asking us is the ability to switch to the measures to rows and columns. So let's just say we take 3 measures, and let's say I just have a sub region, and let's say we have a quarter here, and the capability to switch the measures. So you go to display. So a lot of the properties and capabilities are in display. You come to numbers and show values on rows. So this is one of the common, this capability did exist, but I wanted to quickly highlight that this is one of the very common feature requests. So we caught up on a lot of the user requirements that we have been getting, and we caught up to those requirements. So I wanted to come back so I can actually take the questions. So I'm back to my presentation, and I do wanted to touch on the SaaS version and the on-premise private version. We touched on that, and wanted to touch on the what we are delivering in 1.6. I tried to give you a quick update. Our targeted release date is actually next week. So both the premium edition and the enterprise edition, we will be pushing the update on July 20th. And we are basically doing the final round of testing and validation. And you pretty much saw live, we are kind of there. And we wanted to document all the things that we have done in 1.6 and what are we planning in the upcoming release, especially in the Writebacks is, we are thinking we will probably bring more input types like sliders, progress box, checkbox. We are thinking we can make further improvements on the presets and some of the list of values, basically, especially on the drop-down list, a lot of customers have asked. So we are looking at ways to actually reference another dimension to make sure you can only input valid inputs. We are trying to bring when customers do a data input, can we bring a kind of make sure it is not empty or a min and max? See if we can bring in undo redo on data input. We are going to continue to invest in the destination, and we are probably going to focus on bringing in the data lake Gen 2 and the Synapse storage in the next release. We are going to continue to invest to improve the performance, especially if they want to do a lot more than, we typically say whatever you typically enter in Excel, you should be able to write back, but we want to see how bigger of a data set you can write back. We are continuing to do. The live sync support that you saw, we are today we support it for Azure SQL and SQL Server. We are going to bring that for Snowflake. And like I said, please bring your requirements, share with us. We are continuing to make large investments and we will get it there. The user management, a lot of organization, rather than assign individual user, they wanted to use the AD group. We are going to be investing into that. And there will be some further investments into the scheduler capabilities as well. But the core of the Inforiver matrix from a premium visual itself, we pretty much caught up with pretty much the entire universe of requirements that we have collected. So we have some work to do on the enterprise, and that's where you will see a lot of our investment going in. So to make sure you have a very seamless experience. So these are some of the enhancements from a premium edition of the matrix. The reports plus or the integrated report builder for paginated report will finally go out on July 20th. The auto wrap, I was able to give a quick preview. We also have a concept of saved filter table as saved views. We will probably let you try it. And we have done quite a bit of enhancements on the paginated report where you can actually have KPI cards, charts, and visualization on the paginated report in the header and footer. So it looks like a highly formatted paginated report with that. And you can actually customize the quick access button. I showed you the select all. The other one that a lot of customers ask is the ability to rotate the column header labels. We actually are delivering that. It is done. The auto fit, the unpin all. So a lot of the common customer requests we were able to close. I wanted to touch on pricing because I'm sure a lot of you have questions on pricing. Is the Inforiver charts and matrix, we have actually unbundled them. mainly because a lot of customers came back to us and said they want the flexibility to buy different quantities of charts, let's say 5,000 users of charts versus say 500 users of matrix versus table. So we felt each of our products have to stand on its own leg, and we wanted to give the freedom to the customers to choose, or they want to start with just charts, or they want to start with just matrix. So we brought in, and like I said, our vision is to drive the cost to actually get your reports, as well as the cost, actually the unit cost to get your insights. So we have gone very aggressive on pricing, so a small business, medium business, large business can actually afford Inforiver. So if you closely observe, for 100 users, the premium edition is actually the same price as professional edition. So if you really look at it, fairly aggressive pricing for the amount of capabilities that our organization is delivering to the Power BI customers. Now, coming to the Inforiver Enterprise, the Inforiver Enterprise has a database and a server component. So the SaaS version, we have it designed so that today, a lot of the planning capabilities in small and medium businesses still happens in Excel. We wanted to bring the kind of financial and digital transformation to small and medium business. So we are actually delivering a SaaS version, and we try to keep the cost, and we are actually absorbing the cost of hosting the Azure database, Azure services for them. For large customers, because they would prefer the data residency, the performance they would want to control, because they may have, during the month end budgeting cycle process, they may have 5,000 people entering. So they can scale up and down their infrastructure. So we are going to give on the on-premise private tenant, the customer can do, but we end up taking up an additional support burden of upgrading each of the customers individually. So that's the kind of the rationale. Now we are giving the link to the pricing calculator if you are interested in the on-prem version to see what kind of services, Azure services, we actually do. For the SaaS version, we have a fair usage policy, because we don't want one customer buying a 5-user license and then they use it so heavily that impacts the service level for the other customers. So we have a kind of, we don't want somebody abusing. So if somebody is abusing, we would recommend them to switch to a private tenant so they bear the cost of the Azure services. So these are some of the popular FAQ questions. Will this work with a non-premium tenant? I think I mentioned, I showed you the live sync. I showed you that it could work with the desktop. I didn't show it in this webinar, but I think I did it on the previous webinar. Will it work with the non-premium tenants? Absolutely, it will work with the non-premium tenants, only that you have to do the manual refresh. There isn't any special setup required. Everything goes fairly pretty low code, no code, end user friendly, get up and running pretty much very quickly. You will, like I said, you will see the value within 5 minutes of you deploying Inforiver and inputting numbers. I think I showed you the formula based editing. And can we do only the comments? Absolutely. You can only do the changes. So these are some of the commonly asked questions, and we do recommend that this is not like a big data solution. Inforiver works great on a kind of an aggregated data set, something you typically go to Excel for, the kind of the things, use your filters and slicers, manageable data sets. This works flawlessly well for organization. And I would like to show you, we are also in our presentation giving you some of the blogs that we have written on the Writeback, some of the videos that would be helpful. We're giving you within the presentation all of the links as well. And I would be looking through the questions, and with the time permits, I would be able to take as many questions as possible. Yes, so there was a question, does the Writeback work with OneDrive? Absolutely. You can write back to OneDrive, you can write back to SharePoint. So the comments, the notes, the text notes are captured in a column, but the comment itself is captured in a JSON format. So you just will have to kind of figure out how to actually use a Power Query and then turn the JSON and then attach it to the model. And we are looking at ways to do it, but all those information are available. We are going to invest into the audit APIs to be able to, so you can actually do reporting on those as well. Now, one of the things on question is, does everybody will have to pay for the enterprise edition? Actually, that is one other place where we have actually made a correction or a change is if I actually come back here on the pricing, let's assume if somebody is only viewing, they are not doing any data input, they just need access to the premium license, which is $3 per user for over 100 users. So anybody who is going to be inputting data, budgets or forecast or that, they need to have an enterprise license. But if somebody is just looking at the final output, like a report, they just need a premium license to be able to do it. So it kind of that helps you bring down the cost. Now, as an organization, let's say you have more than 1,000 users or 2,000 users and all, we obviously will do what is called as a site license or a company-wide license. We have that option. You can contact us and we can discuss. Now, how do I enter a dimension data or a dimension attribute that I do not have for a new product or a new company to play with? This is an area where it would work, where you can actually do a static row. Inforiver has a concept called a static row. You can actually do it, but we really don't recommend it because you could enter a lot of rows. And so you will have to take the product and test it out. This is not something we actually support out of the box right now, but it should work. You can use the static row, enter an empty row, and you can actually input it. Is this compatible with Power BI embedded? We would be passing our internal user ID, not the Power BI user ID. Again, these are some of the use cases. It should work, but again, we don't know how the licensing would work for Power BI embedded use cases. So we will have to really explore on a case by case basis. Technically, it should work, but we just have to see how much we can do. Then there is again a question on how much data can be recently returned back, splashed into a fact table. We think we can do 30,000 rows easily. There are times we have done even 100,000 rows, but these are not something we recommend. We typically say a user typically would only write back manageable amount of data that they can actually physically input in Excel. So this is today, a lot of the data input gathering goes in a lot of the salespeople's spreadsheets, and spreadsheets are getting circulated. So this is to automate. This is not a bulk upload or a solution. If you use this with your own defined processes, it should work very, very well for your organization. Writeback possible with SQL Express and Dataverse. We have Dataverse in our roadmap as an additional destination. Again, SQL Express, I have to check with my team. The 30K limit is per individual visual. Yes, it is a good question. It is per report. So you can actually create another report for another user, and you can actually do. Now, the 30K limit is not a hard limit, actually. We are looking to see how much we can stretch it. It also depends on how many columns, rows and columns you have, how many cells you have, so it is a case by case. Now, you may be, if for a simple table, you may be able to do more, but for a complex, wide and long table, you may be able to do less. This is something that we really have to go to each customer, and we really do. And improving the performance and scalability is something that we are going to continue to invest. So We strongly encourage customers to actually do a POC with us, try it out, and we will continue to make the investment to make this as better and better as possible. A column with comment cannot be part of the write back. No, actually, we can actually write back the comment column, but it goes back. It can be written back, but it will go back as a JSON format. Now, the Power BI in the edit mode, actually, the Power BI Pro license, actually, no, that is a very, very good question. The users don't need Power BI edit rights to input numbers. So if they had a simple read-only access to the Power BI, let's say you have a premium capacity and they have access to view the report in Power BI service, they can actually, if you give them access to this report, they can actually input the number in a reading mode only. So that is one of the big value of our product, is you can actually do it in a reading mode as well. Got it. And you, one of the other important thing is we strongly encourage customers to use their Power BI row level security. So every user, let's say I have a salesperson responsible for Texas. So you have defined a row level security, and we honor row level security. So when the salesperson logs in, they see only Texas, it captures only the input. So that is why we think most users don't need to write back a lot of data. So that is something that you will have to keep it in mind. So there are more questions on the non-premium tenants. How is the refresh experience and everything? So again, we have tested fairly exhaustively, but we have to, some of these non-premium, some of the report server situation, these are some of the things that we plan to go to POCs and test it at a customer by customer level. While the write back capability has been there with us for the last 6 months, because a lot of customers asked for a lot of enhancements, we have invested quite a bit. So we really have to go back and work with each one of you to do that. Yes. So to one of the question is the Power BI RLS. Yes, we work with Power BI RLS. Your comments can be linked back. So you can actually say, you can only have access to this particular dimension, which is defined in the RLS. You can only enter comment to that. So you can actually do that as well. Now we are running close to the time. I have tried to take as many questions as possible, and we will, if there is any other additional question. There is a question about any plans to work with the data marts. Yes, we are actively pursuing that, and when the DDML, DML capabilities to the data marts becomes exposed to partners like us, we work very closely with the Power BI product team, and a lot of these innovations are possible because of the support they have provided in enabling the SDK API access. Like I said, our organization is basically the largest in terms in the world of all the, pretty much you look at any add-on software provider, we have 175 employees. To our scale and size and scope, I don't think so there is any other partner, and we will catch up as soon as Power BI releases those capabilities, and we are continuing to make these investments into data marts. We will look at Dataverse. All those are coming. So just I only request you to just work with us, bring your requirements with us. We will invest, and we will. Our goal is to not just satisfy enterprise customers, to cater customers, small business teams to medium business teams, or within even business groups within large enterprises. So that's why we have priced it, we have segmented our products, why we have given a lot of options, keeping all those in mind. So what I would like to do is, I wanted to basically wind down the webinar, but before I wanted to actually thank you all for showing up. We had well over 400 registrants for the webinar. I'm sure some of you would be watching the recording. I wanted to thank you. and we wanted to bring more innovations to you. So you engaging through the Inforiver community and actively communicating with us about what you are really looking for, some of the challenges, is welcome. And I have shared my email as well. And thank you all for being with us and supporting Inforiver.